Gaza ceasefire agreement ready, says US and Hamas. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says final details of the deal are still being ironed out. Agreement promises release of hostages held by Hamas and Palestinians jailed in Israel during a 6-week pause in war. Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire deal to pause the devastating war in the Gaza Strip. Multiple officials announced on Wednesday, raising the possibility of winding down the deadliest and most destructive fighting between the bitter enemies. The deal, coming after weeks of painstaking negotiations in the Qatari capital, promises the release of dozens of hostages held by Hamas and faces the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in Israel, and would allow hundreds of thousands of people displaced in Gaza to return to what remains of their homes. It would it also would flood badly needed humanitarian aid into a territory ravaged by 15 months of war. Three officials from the US and one from Hamas confirmed that the deal has been reached, while the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says final details were still being ironed out. All three US officials and Hamas official requested anonymity to discuss the contours of the deal before the official announcement by mediators in Doha. Mr. Netanyahu's office said in a statement that it hoped details will be finally finalized tonight. Any agreement needs to be approved by Netanyahu's cabinet. Once official, the deal is expected to deliver an initial 6-week halt to fighting that is to be accompanied by opening of negotiations on ending war altogether. India's goods export dipped 1% in December. Trade deficit narrows to a 3-month low. India's goods export contracts 1% year on year in December to a fraction over $38 billion, while imports grew 4.9% to almost $60 billion, but this narrowed the merchandise trade deficit to a 3-month low of $21.9 billion, reflecting a sharp moderation from November record gap of $31.8 billion. Gold imports that were feared to have spiked a fresh high of $14.9 billion in November. Commerce Secretary Sunil Barthwal sought to play down concerns about the export blip, saying shipment values have grown in every quarter through the first 9 months of the financial year. This shows that they have not only been resilient during the challenging year but also more consistent, he said. Officials stressed that December's export tally marked only the third occasion in 2024-25 that outbound shipment values has crossed. Senior leaders from AAP BJP Congress hold roadshows, file nominations. BJP spokesperson abused Purvanchali's AAP to hold protest. Modi, Shah, Nadda, Irani in BJP's list of star campaigners. SP-TMC back up for Delhi poll. SP's Ajit Prasad filed nomination papers for Milkipur by poll. GRAP 3-4 back in Delhi as the city's air deteriorated. AQI 401 at 8 pm on Wednesday, the center reintroduced a ban on construction and demolition activities. Plying of BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel four-wheelers, BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel four-wheelers, and mandatory shifting of classes to hybrid mode for students except for those in grades 10 and 12 in Delhi NCR. The actions are part of stage 3 and 4 of the Graded Response Action Plan, a set of short-term emergency measures to reduce air pollution. BSF BGB officials hold border coordination meet to strengthen ties. High-level interaction highlights unwavering commitment of both forces towards ensuring the sanctity of international border amidst disagreements over construction of border fences. The BSF and Border Guard Bangladesh held a border coordination meeting on Wednesday at sector commandant level at Petrapol, Benapol, border to discuss critical issues of mutual interest. The issues included development projects in border areas, implementation of a single row fence, and effective measures to combat cross border crimes such as cattle smuggling, human trafficking, and illegal immigration. According to a statement released by South Bengal Frontier of the BSF, the high level interaction also reportedly highlighted the unwavering commitment of both the forces towards strengthening bilateral relations and ensuring the sanctity of international border. The development comes amid tensions along the India-Bangladesh border, with recent reports of disagreements over the construction of border fences in certain areas, such as Sukhdepur, Sukhdevpur in West Bengal's Malda. The BSF delegation, led by Tarni Kumar, Deputy Inspector General, Sector Headquarters, BSF Kolkata, while the BGB delegation was led by Colonel Mehdi Hassan Chaudhry, Sector Commander, Sector Headquarters, BGP Khulna. These high-level meetings are testimony to the unbreakable partnership between India and Bangladesh. Through open dialogue and cooperation, both have reaffirmed their commitment to maintain the sanctity of international border while addressing shared concern. The BSF is steadfast in its mission to faithfully guard its border and promote harmony with its neighbors. High Court orders police cover for tourist whistleblower. The Bombay High Court on Wednesday came down heavily on Mumbai police over the slow-paced investigation into the tourist investment scam, or ordered immediate interim police protection for a chartered accountant who claimed to be a whistleblower in this case. The tourist jewelry brand run by Platinum Han Private Limited is accused of floating multiple schemes, offering up to 500% annual returns and eventually defaulting on a payout. Six flights delayed, diverted, over 300 delayed amid fog in Delhi. Chhattisgarh liquor scam, ED arrest former excise minister. Bihar Nadda leader sets target of 225 seats in assembly poll. Supreme Court says by-election result for expelled Bihar MLC seat. Madurai Thoothukudi rail line project not shelved. Vaishnav. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav on Wednesday clarified that Madurai Thoothukudi new line project has not been shelved and there were no issues pertaining to land acquisition. Clarification comes days after remarks on the project triggered a controversy. Responding to a query from a journalist during his visit to Integral Coach Factory in Chennai, Mr. Vaishnav had said the project had been shelved on the basis of letter of the state government. One man initiative lights up Kolkata's heritage buildings, evokes pass-through crowdfunding. A man whose day job is to produce annual reports for listed and unlisted company has now voluntarily produced an annual report for something he has been doing at night, lighting up heritage buildings in Kolkata so that city's history is visible round the clock. 62 structures illuminated in exactly 14 months, about one historic building a week. That's what Mudar Pathreya has to show the annual report of the Kolkata Restorers, the one-man initiative that has been brightening the city's evenings. Students detained in Tripura over Roman script for Kokborok. About 12 members of the Tripura Students' Federation were detained on Wednesday for staging a protest at the entrance of Tripura Assembly to press their demand for the use of Roman script for Kokborok in textbooks and for official work. This has been long-standing demand of tribal forums such as Tripura Students Federation. A majority of tribes in the state speak Kakborok, which has been recognized as the second state language after Bengali. Submarine 2 warships commissioned. In the first three frontline platforms, INS Nilgiri, INS Vakshir, and INS Surat, INS Nilgiri, Vakshir, and Surat were commissioned on the same day in Navy on Wednesday. Hailing the first try commissioning of as a significant leap towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, Prime Minister dedicated the naval platforms to warships and submarine to the nation. IS Nilgiri is the lead ship of Project 17A frigates. INS Nilgiri is the lead ship of Project 17A frigates. INS Berkshire is the sixth and the final submarine of Project 75 Kalvari class. INS Berkshire is the sixth and the final submarine of the Project 75 Kalvari class, and INS Surat is the fourth and the final ship of the Project 15B destroyers. We are becoming a major maritime power by taking inspiration from our rich naval history. INS Nilgiri is dedicated to the naval empire of the Cholas. INS Surat is dedicated to India's ancient connection to West Asia through Gujarat. I was there for the commissioning of the first Kalvari submarine. I am blessed to commission the sixth one, INS Vakshir. The Prime Minister said at an event at Naval Dockyard on Wednesday morning, outlining India's vision as a global power. Mr. Modi said India's position is not expansionist but development oriented. We are recognized as a reliable and responsible partner globally, especially in the global south. On the importance of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan or indigenization, he said the country's dependence on other countries at the time of tension should be minimum. Today there are 500 plus equipment which our defense personnel will not buy from our other countries. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh said that the historic commissioning showcases India's growing prowess in Indian Ocean region. 7-day custody for Valmik Karad in bead extortion case. Supreme Court protects Pooja Khedkar from arrest till February 14. Accused of cheating and wrongfully availing OBC disability quota benefits in civil services examination from coercive action by the police. Top court asked Kerala not to publish data on church denominations. Supreme Court on Wednesday said it was time to take very conscious call about the extent to which judiciary ought to intervene in religious affairs, even as it asked Kerala government not to circulate or publish data sought by the court about the population, churches and assets of the warring Orthodox, Malankar and Jacobite denominations of the state. Relief for Andhra CM as Supreme Court rejects plea to cancel bail. Supreme Court rejects KTR's plea in Formula E case. POXO case against ex-CM of Karnataka can't be quashed. BS Yediyurappa. Bengal government pegs Ganga Sagar pilgrim count at over 1.1 crore. The West Bengal government on Wednesday claimed that over 1.1 crore pilgrims have participated in the Ganga Sagar Mela 2025, describing the annual pilgrimage at the confluence of River Ganga and the Bay of Bengal as the best Mela in the country. Last year too, the state government had put a similar count on the number of devotees without attributing the source. A response to the right of information query filed by Vishwanath Goswami, however, pointed out that about 4.57 lakh vessel tickets were sold from January 10 to January 16 during the Mela last year. The total fare collection was about 1.83 crore. Ganga Sagar Mela held on Sagar Island, which can be accessed only by vessels and boats. Cabinet will discuss caste census at meeting next week, says Karnataka CM. Clarifying the socio-economic and educational survey. Socio-economic and educational survey will not be discussed in the cabinet meeting this Thursday but will be taken up next week. The opposition to the caste census is unnecessary when the statistics in the report have not come into the public domain. There are only rumors about it. The census report would be discussed and a suitable decision taken at next week's cabinet meeting. Meanwhile, upping the ante, Home Minister G. Parmeshwar told press persons in Bengaluru while the census details need to be published, it was left to the government to implement the recommendation. The caste census report, which is in a sealed cover, should be opened at the cabinet meeting. Otherwise, there are chances that the information could get leaked. Congress names 5 more candidates for Delhi polls. Businessman tenders apology for staying in prison. after bail. Borough tragedy. India must learn from its mining disaster and enforce regulations. With 4 deaths so far, the coal mining tragedy in Assam's Dima Hasao district has revived a long standing debate on the hazardous nature of a rat hole coal mining in India. As opposed to modern coal mining, which is mechanized, the rat hole points to the crude and antiquated technique of employing people and even children to burrow into the ground to scoop out the underground coal. Depending on the depths that they plumb, the odds are high that their pickaxes will often unleash a torrent of water from a hidden aquifer that can suddenly inundate the excavated tunnel, as it is suspected to have happened at Dima Hasao. Because such accidents have recurred over the decades along with attendant health and environmental hazards, the mode of mining was banned by the NGT in 2014. The use of proper geological surveys and appropriate machinery would have made the mine economically unviable. The Assam Chief Minister has stated that the mine appeared to be prima facie illegal and one abandoned by the State Mines and Mineral Department. If that is the case, it reflects poorly on state administration that such mines can be exploited by unscrupulous elements with such ease despite the ban. Surely, this is only a fraction of unregulated mining that actually goes on. The Supreme Court of India in 2019 had asked whether it was possible for such mining to continue without the connivance of officials when it was examining the rescue of 15 miners trapped in a rat hole mine in the East Jantia Hills in December 2018. A report submitted by monitoring committee set up by the NGT observed that despite the ban, the demand for coal to power cement manufacturing and thermal power plants in the northeast had sustained and supported rat hole coal mining. On the other hand, when convenient, state authorities have sought out and even facilitated rat hole miners, some from Assam, as in 2023, when they were called in as a last resort after advanced machinery and expertise of professional geologists and earth scientists had failed to rescue 41 construction workers trapped in a large overground Silkiara tunnel in Uttarkashi. The Dima Hasao operations, too like others, will end and net success or failure of saving those trapped will induce a familiar amnesia that will be broken only to the next accident. Until decisive action to puncture the economics of rat hole mining is taken, India is only burrowing the way to another tragedy. A sense of fairness must drive the capping of visitors to religious sites, despite the number of thousands who throng the Tirumala temple in Tirupati every year for the Vaikuntha Ekadashi celebrations. Stampedes at the world-renowned Hills Temple have been rare. However, the tragic incident on January 8 underscores the need to rethinking crowd management strategies at religious pilgrimage sites. As an editorial in this daily on December 24 noted, India has the highest number of religious stampedes globally. According to NCRB, between 1996 and 2022, over 3,000 lives were lost in stampedes at religious events nationwide. This statistics starkly highlights the need for systematic changes in a way large-scale gatherings are organized and managed. Tirupati stampede, which resulted in 6 devotees passing away and injuries to over 40 others, was despite the extensive arrangement by Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanams and Andhra Pradesh government. Elaborate crowd control mechanisms such as well-dispersed token distribution strategy and deployment of over 3,000 police personnel and other staff and volunteers were in place for 10-day Vaikunt Dwar Darshan. Nonetheless, what appears to be miscommunication at one of the centers in the city to handle surge in devotees at token distribution center seems to have triggered chaos and panic. The proof that Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu announced would shed more light on where the lapse occurred. The tragedy unfolded just weeks after another stampede like situation in Hyderabad, while the TTD has been making commendable efforts over the years to streamline operations, online booking systems, and additional security personnel during peak periods.